So the menu bar across the top of a Mac definitely works a little different. Let's point out the differences and then a few things that will help you in terms of working with applications on your Mac. The Apple button in the top left-hand corner never moves. That is always here, and it always has the same setting here, or the same menu, if you will, unless Apple decides to add something like the App Store, the Mac App Store, that was added in early 2011. So about this Mac is where you want to go when someone, if you're getting tech support help, for example, and they need to know what version of the operating system is running. You can check here. I can check for software updates here. I can look for more information about my Mac here. This is the system profiler. So again, when someone is helping you with your Mac and needs information, you would go there. I can check for software updates here as well. This is something you want to do periodically. You just left click here. That will go out and check for updates, new releases to your operating system and things like iTunes. And when it finds those, it will go ahead and ask you to install them, and you should. System preferences is listed here. We'll get into system preferences in a different video. That is just different settings on your Mac. Dock we've looked at. Recent items, just what you would think. Things I've had open recently that I want to jump to. Force quit, very important. If I have an application that I cannot get to quit, I want to come here and force quit. I just choose the application. It will likely have some parentheses next to it that say something like not responding, and you go ahead and select that and choose force quit. You'll notice with Finder it says relaunch, but force quit is important on a Mac. It's similar to Control-Alt-Delete that you may have been used to on a Microsoft Windows machine. And then last within the Apple button are sleep, restart, and shut down. No different there. They work the same way that you've traditionally used sleep, restart, and shut down with a PC. And then log out here. If you have multiple user accounts, you can log out from that Apple button. So that button doesn't change. It always stays there. What does change is everything to the right of that button all the way through this menu string. So you'll notice right here I have the Finder menu. That is what will be displayed there when nothing else is active or open on your Mac. But if I bring up Safari, you will notice now it says Safari for a web browsing session. Within Safari, or the name of whatever application is open, if you left click, you get a menu specific to that application, and then you have menu strings here specific to that application, including help, which will be specific to that application. So that is Safari's menu structure. If I go to Address Book, you will see I have a different set of menu options here right underneath Address Book, and then I have different menu options here under each of these, including help. Now the thing that can throw people off sometimes on a Mac is, let's bring Address Book back up. Watch what happens when I minimize Address Book. See how I still see Safari and I do not see Address Book, but yet Address Book is still displayed here across the top in the menu bar. So I have to actually make that application the active application. It's kind of grayed out here that you'll notice. When I left click on top of that Safari web browsing session window, that will then switch that over and tell me that is the active application, and that matters especially for things like keyboard commands. There will be a separate video on keyboard commands, which these are the keyboard commands right here on the right hand side of a menu string. So we'll get into keyboard commands in another video, but that's just a quick denotion that sometimes if what you're seeing is not matching up with what you're trying to do, just take your eye up to the top left-hand corner and make sure that the application you want to be working with is actually the application that's displayed here on your menu bar, not necessarily what you see here across your desktop. And then in the top right-hand corner of the menu bar is a set of, in this case for me, these will not be the same as what you have on your Mac. These are different applications that I have embedded on the menu bar, if you will. These are typically with applications you have the option to display or keep them running on the menu bar. And you also have options within system preferences for things like displaying the date and time. So you notice here I'm displaying the time. If I go into date and time preferences within system preferences, I have the option, if I check and uncheck this box, you will notice that displays or takes away the display of the date and time on the menu bar in the top right hand corner. I also have the same type of option, for example, for energy saver preferences. If I want to see how charged my battery is and whether or not I show that in my menu bar, you'll notice there whether or not it's displayed, it's turned on or off. So many of these applications that are displayed up here, or many of the things you see displayed up here, are actually determined within your system preferences area on your Mac. And then the last thing on the menu bar at the top right hand corner is Spotlight. It might be little, but this thing is super powerful, and we'll have a video on Spotlight. And so there you go. There's a quick overview of the menu bar on your Mac.